your show. Enjoy, man. There's a lot to Tuggers be broke every day. Yeah, look, there's a lot of good crossover coming, so always be prepared. Are
Okay,
you live yet?
I'm pretty sure I'm live on my channel, so we should be good. But
Okay,
how you doing, man?
I am doing great. I am doing better than I deserve.
Definitely. Who is it that says that? Is that some?
TFM.
Oh, okay. I thought there's some celebrity that says that. But anyway, I was gonna.
Well, TFM is pretty much a celebrity, but
Well, that's true. So anyway, since great to have you, big fan. Are you down to do 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence for Saint Floyd just to start this off?
no, I
Respectfully.
won't do anything of worth of silence for Saint Floyd. I don't give a fucking shit about Saint Floyd.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But anyway, yeah, just a brief introduction. We met through Luke Ford's show. That was a while ago, probably a year and a half ago, something like that. You kind of came through that circle. We've interacted through there. We're on like this a little group chat on Twitter. Like going back and forth with you. Yeah, obviously, I mean, have a lot of respect for you back in the day, going head to head against Mike Enoch, and one of the classic streams. I think maybe the only one that tops that is.
Just so you know, you're live on your channel, but I could see you like click out of my Discord because I don't want you putting any like screenshots of my Discord
Okay, yeah, yeah. Let me
on your
just
channel.
yeah, let me just open a just beginner streaming. So I'll just open a new window. But
That's fine.
the only debate I thought that might beat that was Jared Taylor for Tariq, which is maybe my classic. But
Jared Taylor versus Tariq was quite possibly like the funniest stream that ever took place.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
So anyway, yeah, it's a brief intro of myself. I wanted to get more into politics. I went to a Trump rally. I think that was back in 2017, like October. Happened to find a link, a suggestion for Luke Ford back in the days when that might actually be possible. Um,
uh,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm not
okay. I thought
talking.
I thought you were interrupting. Something was going wrong with my stream or something. And
Nope.
yeah, that's kind of how we met. If you want to give yourself a brief intro, I know it's most of your fans, but I want to talk about a little bit about yourself. And but, yeah, my intro for you is like I have a ton of respect for you. I don't watch. I watch some of your streams, but there's so much material out there, so I don't keep on top of it. So if you want to give yourself an intro, I don't even know how originally you got into the space. So if you want to do a brief intro, kind of say what you've been up to.
Sure. So, I mean, I started Halsey News in 2017. Well, actually, it was the last month, December 2016. It was right after Trump got elected, and funny enough, it was an argument that I was having with someone where I said that you can probably make just as much of an impact if you're brutally honest than you can if you just lie all the time like the mainstream media does. And someone basically said like, "Oh, you could never do that." I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I can." So that's what we did, and we started the channel, the website, just to do like basic journalism. But I decided, me and my partner at the time, Stephanie, we decided that it would probably be better if we had YouTube streams to go along with it. Now, the only thing that we had about Halsey News was that we said we were not going to talk about Israel and Jewish shit,
Right.
right? Because at the time, like it wasn't something I had just moved back from Israel a couple years earlier, and I didn't want to get kind of shoehorned into constantly talking about Jewish crap. But then, of course, Trump had to go move the embassy, and I had to do an interview about it. And next thing I know, like I'm like Mr. Super Jew, where everybody that's all they want to talk about is Israel and Jewish stuff and all of that. And that's when like people like Paul Nalin and Nick Fuentes and Blood Sports and Mike Enoch, like all of this stuff started coming up, and people started saying, "Oh, you should go on Blood Sports and take on somebody." And I was like, "Oh, I was dead set. I wanted to take on Paul Nalin, right? Because he just pissed me off in a way that I'm not usually pissed off." So I was like, "Okay, fuck it. I want to take on Paul Nalin." So I knew the only way I could really call him out was if I like just basically start harassing him on social media. And a buddy of mine at the time was like, "Listen, if you just harass him, it'll take about 5 seconds and he'll just block you. And then it'll all be for nothing anyway. So you should pick like a whole bunch of people that you wouldn't mind going after and then just see which one like bites." So I picked him and David Duke. And at the time, the person who was working for Halsey News, Stephanie, said, "Oh, you should pick Nick Fuentes." I was like, "Who the fuck is Nick Fuentes?" And so I said, "Okay, I'll do it." But I still had no clue who the hell he was. And then I was sending out all these funny memes to them and shit. And then this guy basically challenged me. He said, like, "Look, I mean, you're calling out all these people that have much bigger channels than you and all this shit, but you wouldn't just debate a nobody on your stream." I was like, "Sure, I would." And he's like, "Okay, well, debate me." So the next night I had him on and just destroyed him. And I guess someone had sent it to JF, and he sent me an email. He's like, "Oh, will you come on the stream on Tuesday? And we'll have some blood sports there." Just at the time, I was supposed to just be talking to him and Andy, but I guess like halfway through the stream, like he says to me, "Oh, and Nick Fuentes is going to be here in 30 minutes." I was like, "Great." Now at this point, I had never heard Nick Fuentes' voice before. Like I had no idea what he stood for, but like I had been calling him out for like weeks, because as I said, he was just on my like list of people I was calling out because I really wanted Paul Neyland and David Duke. And so he came on, and that stream was like pretty famous. It was like, okay, so we just yelled at each other for 45 minutes. It was fun, whatever.
Was that the knife stream?
Yeah, that's where he got the name from.
Pulls out the knife. Oh, Mick the knife, whatever.
Yeah. And during that stream also, JF was like, "Oh, and Mike Enoch is going to be here." I was like, "Yeah, fuck Mike Enoch. I'll kick that motherfucker's ass." And I didn't even know who he was. Not the slightest clue. And so then he gets back to me. He's like, "Oh, so Mike Enoch can't be here today. He'll do this next week. So next week you have like a definite debate with Mike Enoch." And I was like, "Okay, fuck it." So like after the stream, I was like, "Yeah, I better find out who this fucking guy Mike Enoch is." So I just like Googled his name, and I found like an article that like was like his doxing article. And it said he's like
classic.
Yeah, like basically he was like hiding in a closet, like doing his podcast while his Jewish wife was like sitting in the living room. I was like, how is anyone like take this guy seriously? So obviously I went on. I had the debate with him, which was the St. Valentine's Day massacre, and that was just it was all history from there.
Yeah, definitely. I still don't forgive myself when I first was very naive, like so many people might be coming into the alt-right type circles. I was actually rooting for Enoch in that debate because
so was everybody. Don't worry about it.
I thought he was. I didn't realize like who he was, and he is appealing. Like when you hear some of his sound bites, his more mainstream sound bites, people don't. I mean, I don't have much admiration for the guy. Quite the opposite. But he does say things that really appeal to a lot of people. Otherwise, he wouldn't be as big as he is.
Yeah, I'm sure like the couple thousand people that listen to him like to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, he has 13,000 followers last I checked on Twitter, which is pretty big for a guy like that. And I updated my picture to the Alamo. I'm somebody who moved to the South, and when I think of Halsey, I think of someone who doesn't cuck and doesn't like people who cuck, or you've done it rarely, and nothing speaks to that more than the Alamo, where if you're not familiar with the story, I didn't realize this until I actually went and visited the site, which again feels naive, but they fought to the death there. Everyone died. They might have let a couple people, like some kids or like one or two guys, go to tell the story, but it's really motivating. It speaks to my move to the South, and that. So my other picture was of Iwo Jima, which was great, but the Alamo just speaks more to kind of a core American story than capturing some shitty Japanese island. But
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so you kind of talked about how you got started in the space. Your interview with Jared Taylor was really awesome, and I like the effect of the old school TV because there was something surreal about it. I felt like it was like an old throwback movie or something. Like it was just the effects of it were kind of surreal. So I don't know if you kind of got that or that's why you picked those effects. But it was really because it's like
that's every night. That's my stream.
It's this old school guy talking from this old school TV, and I don't know. It was just awesome, and
it took me 2 years to get that interview. I had been like I had a whole bunch of people that asked him about it, like and whatever, and I kept email, like he would always say to whoever like mentioned that I wanted to interview him, like tell him to email me, and then I would email him and I wouldn't hear back.
Right.
And then finally he was on Kato Godfrey, and I had sent a super chat like, "Oh, I love this stream, but hey, Paul, put in a word for me with Jared. I've been trying to interview him for 2 years.
Hmm.
Right. And I guess like Paul, like kind of told him like, look, he's a good guy, whatever. And so I emailed him and said, hey, I just was, because he of course said, email me again on the stream. So I sent him an email and he answered it like right away. And he's like, okay. And like, he asked me about my audience and stuff like that. And he said, okay, when do you want to do it? And I was like, oh my God, this took 2 fucking years to get done, but it was great. And I wanted Brian there because like, I definitely wanted to get into the, like the culture, genetics, and all of that. I have a feeling like he probably would never verify this, but I have a feeling that like if he mentioned me to other people that he like runs with, that they probably said like, "Oh, you don't want to go on that show because he'll probably trap you,"
Right.
or something like that, or that I would do something along those lines. Hold on, I got a super chat real quick
Yep.
from Wojak Woes. What do you guys think of the joggers' orchestrated attack on the Tampa police? Joggers called the cops claiming there was a shooting, and once the cops got to the crime scene, the joggers gang rushed the cops. Savage animals deserve no rights. I mean, look, I haven't heard about that yet, but if that's the case, then I hope they shot every fucking last one of them.
I mean, people just aren't thinking of the effects of. They're thinking of the immediate gratification of, we're just going to pressure the police to get concessions, the mayor, whatever. What are the effects? Like we're seeing police, they want to quit, they don't want to patrol, and what's that going to happen to? What's the result? We saw what happened, like what in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where all these cities went to shit and people fled them. You know.
You have to understand something. This has been the story of the black community since day one. Okay. They freak the fuck out about something and they demand that something be done. Right. Like the best example I always give is during the crack epidemic. Right. They came out and said crack is destroying our cities. Our neighborhoods are fucking war zones. Drug dealers rule the day. So can you please like make crack more of a crime than just regular powder cocaine? Because that's what it was at the time. It was the same punishment as powder cocaine. And basically, the Congress said, "Okay, you're black, so we'll give you what you asked for, and maybe we'll get like one or two extra voters." And they made crack like public enemy number one in the drug war. And then they went around, they arrested all the crack dealers. The crack epidemic went away, and not 10 minutes later, there were the jogging community sitting there going, "Oh, they only made crack more of a punishment because they're racist. If they weren't racist, they would have made powder cocaine the same, what's it called? The same crime." And this is what they're going to do. Now, I know I can play this out as long as the whole country doesn't fucking collapse. This is exactly how this is going to play out. They're going to demand that people like Bill de Blasio and all the other liberal mayors and governors defund the police and start putting social workers and psychologists and all of that in charge. Crime is going to go through the roof, rampant, crazy style, right? Which, who gives a fuck? I mean, if that's what they want, fine. But what's going to happen is all the surrounding areas that aren't toilets are going to beef up their police departments because it's not like they're going to keep the crime in their toilets. There's nothing to steal, So they'll start coming out to the suburbs. They'll start coming out to whatever, and the cops will be ready. But then what's going to happen? They're going to start claiming that the only reason that we're beefing up the cops is because we're racist, and they're going to start saying, well, how come it is that black people can't come out to the suburbs without getting fucking pulled over? Like how come they can't? How come every time they come out to the suburbs, this happens? And then it's going to be, oh well, if our cities weren't such crime-ridden shitholes, then there would be no need for police in the suburbs, and they'll start asking for more policing and saying it was racist to deny them policing in the first place. This is what they do about basically every issue. They ask for something, they get it, they completely fuck it up, and then they call racism when it doesn't work out.
Well, you can't win. I mean, you saw you're gonna get called a racist regardless. Everyone's seen the video of that poor. Well, she wasn't a nurse, but everyone looks like a nurse now with all the mask and everything. Maybe she was a nurse. The Seattle Karen that was harassed by that fucking gay black dude, and she's just panicking. Okay, she didn't react the right way, but she was scared. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't call the police. You know what I mean? It's kind of a perfect microcosm for what you're talking about.
Just out of curiosity, how did she not behave the right way?
She Okay, I mean, I don't blame her. Like, I don't hate on the woman at all. It's if you don't want to go viral, you just don't interact. You know what I mean? Like she made a scene. Well, okay, you're not thinking this in the moment, right? But if you act like that, it's going to make great entertainment online. So
Yeah, but first of all, that's what that guy does. She was like the fifth person that he did that to. He went up and accused her of calling him the N word, and then pulled his camera out and just kept it on her. Like, I get why she was completely hysterical. She was hysterical because she thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose all my social media accounts. Like, people are going to hate on me. Someone's going to come burn my house down." Because he kept going, "Why did you call me the N words?" And guess what? She didn't call him the N word. It's
yeah, I
all
don't
bullshit.
think so
It's
either.
like everything else. So she was hysterical because she thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to lose my whole entire life." And I think at one point she even said she's like married to a black guy, which makes it even worse. Like, and that's what this guy does. He did it to in a Chinese restaurant. Like, either I have to believe that this guy's been called the N word more times than like anyone else on the planet, or he's just doing it to get clicks, and that's probably what he's doing. So I understand why she was hysterical, and also he's like filming her license plate and her like address and shit like that. Like, how long is it going to be before a whole gaggle of fucking joggers show up to her house and start like throwing Molotov cocktails and shit at it?
Yeah, I mean but there's got to be like they form these leftist mob, but can there be any response to discourage this behavior? Like
Yes.
a bunch of people
When
that
the left,
do the
no,
same shit to
look,
him.
listen, there's an extremely sane, rational way to treat these people. Is when the mob shows up, like let's say at your house or at your work or something like that, and they want to like roast you for saying the N word at some point or whatever, you mow them down mercilessly and take no prisoners. Just slaughter them in the middle of the street so that there's not a single one left breathing. And I promise you, they won't do it again.
Well, that's true, but you would do that at great sacrifice. But I mean, like people overplay their hand, and it seems like, well, when is the left going to overplay their hand? But this guy, I don't know. He started going viral. People started sending his contact info because it was like, let's flip it around on this piece of shit because he deserves it. Like, would something like that discourage this type of behavior? I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Nothing will discourage this type of behavior with the left. And the reason why it won't discourage this behavior with the left is because the left holds institutional power. They have no one to answer to. No one's going to hold them to account. So no matter how much you show them that you're a hypocrite, no matter how horrible you show them, no matter what you do, what's going to wind up happening is they're going to just get away with it. And the more you expel energy trying to get them to stop or point out that they're hypocrites or tell them that they don't, like whatever, like the more you try to use ration and logic and all of that with them, guess what? You're spinning your wheels and it'll probably come back to bite you.
So, I mean, how do you make that situation better? Like, when does the left overplay their hand, or when can something be done to counteract it? How do you? I mean, you seem to be pretty kind of black pilled on everything. It seems
I'm
like,
not black pilled on anything. I get accused of it all the time, but I'm not.
well, on America as a whole, it seems like a little bit. But I mean, just what can make it better, or how can the trend end or be reversed, or at least slow down? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's something I'm a little black pilled on because the only thing that will meet violence and stop violence is violence.
Hmm.
Like, I know that there's like a lot of cucks out there who like to go, well, violence never solved anything, except for violence solved everything. There's not a single thing that was ever resolved to the satisfaction of everybody without violence. I mean, you see it all the time. Ever since we stopped fighting wars because war became a bad way to deal with problems, instead of just people fighting it out, one side wins, one side loses, and the winning side dictates the terms to the losing side. Since we don't do that anymore, we just have slow bleeds everywhere.
Hmm.
Nonstop terrorism, nonstop unrest. Nobody can get a night's sleep, and everybody's always talking and negotiating and shit like that. So, to
And cucking.
yeah, so like you can sit there and say all you want, like, oh, violence never solved anything, or it's always better to talk because if we talk, then we'll do this. That's not going to solve anything. In fact, it's going to do the opposite.
And there's no deterrent. Like, people fight with
No,
the police because there's no deterrent. because they can't shoot me, they can't beat me. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and if they fuck up, I'm gonna get a payday or get a cop fired. So that's a big problem.
Or they're just going to accomplish exactly what they want, which is more violence. There's a reason why they're using violence, because it works, and they know that it works.
Yeah, it absolutely
like
is.
there's no one in BLM right now. There's no one on the left. There's none of these commies, none of these fucking lunatics. Not a single one is going, oh, we need to sit down and talk with them. Not a single one is saying that. Not a single one is doing that. Like, they know that it's pointless. They know that sitting down and going, okay, let's have a discussion is absolutely pointless. You know?
Well, I've heard many people say this is common. You're not gonna get concessions from the police without fucking shit up and making a scene. And I was even talking to like a nice gentleman who was black or partially black, and this is what he was saying. I was at a party, so I didn't get into a discussion about it. But this is what I'm saying. I mean, it is effective, but then there's the effects of that, the white flight, the ghettoization, etc., etc. I mean, I think in the long term, the average black person in a city is going to be hurt by it. But trying to get expecting people to act sensibly in 2020, I guess, is just kind of a lost cause.
Yeah, but you see, that's what you're missing here, right? They are acting sensibly. They're doing what one side wants to do when they want to win. They're not trying to get concessions from the cops. The cops are the last institution, or one of the last ones, that the left hasn't completely conquered in America. That's why. It's that they're tired of Republicans being able to run on law and order, even though the Republicans aren't about shit. But they're tired of Republicans running on law and order and the cops backing them up. They can't pass a lot of their laws because of police unions. Police unions oppose. And I mean, right here in New Jersey, they've been trying to pass legal marijuana for a while now, and they can't because the police unions oppose it. So right now it's about getting the cops to bend the knee. It's about getting the cops to say, okay, we won't pull over criminals because after all, we don't want to get fired and lose our jobs and our pensions and shit like that. So instead of dismantling the cops, what they'll turn the cops into is the same thing they have in Britain. They'll make them dress funny, and they'll take away their guns, and they'll basically like watch as they get their asses kicked and handed to them. And if they ever want to have any kind of authority whatsoever, they'll have to bend the knee.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. It seems like you're kind of negative on Trump, but what should he, in relation to this, what should he be doing that he's not doing? How do you think it'll affect voters?
I'm not negative on Trump. I'm realistic about Trump. Trump is one guy, right? And I know that there's a lot of sound bites that sound fucking awesome when you're running for office. And his biggest one was, I'm an outsider. I run a business. I'm not caught up in the typical bullshit that engulfs Washington. Like I don't have to worry about alliances. I don't have to worry about like political debts because I'm completely independent. But you have to remember something. He's one guy with an entire political system allied against him. He has no enemies. He has, nothing. He has nothing going on. So whenever he says, I want to do this or I want to do that, they just stop him. There's an entire bureaucracy of over 1 million employees. There's 2 mainstream political parties who are basically the same. And they're what's it called? They're trying to make sure that he's an impotent president. I don't think that I think that Trump sucks because he's an egomaniac, and I think that he just wants people to tell him how awesome he is, and so he goes around and kisses a lot of ass of people that are never going to like him. But at the same time, like I don't blame him for not being able to get much done. I don't think he's capable of getting much done. What I fault him for is not telling the American people where he's at. Like, he should be coming out and being like, guys, like, you're kind of on your own on a lot of this shit. There's nothing I can do. Like, I've told the Justice Department to declare Antifa a terrorist group. They just won't do it. I've told Congress that I need this. I've tried to build the wall. I've tried to do everything. And I'm getting stopped at every point. So if you guys don't, like, hit the streets and start, like, doing something about this, like, there's not much more I can do. That's what he should be doing, is leveling, instead of constantly going, oh, but check it out. I'm a black unemployment. And, I'm letting criminals out of jail and all this cool shit. Like, I'm building a wall, which is nonsense because he's not. And that would be better for me with Trump. It's not that I'm black pilled on Trump. It's just I'm realistic at the idea that there's just not that much he can do.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, this election is going to be. It seems like it's going to be tough for him, but we all. I doubted him the last time, like everybody else. So I was talking to Kyle's negative on his reelection chances, like a lot of people. Kyle Rowland, he's the last guy I talked to, but I don't know. We don't have anything else to put faith in, so.
So, real quick, Mad Hatter Matador for $10. Thank you very much for the donation. If the cops get outlawed and people have to take care of things themselves, the penalty for most crimes will be the death penalty. Is that bad? You know, like
The penalty for most things will be the death penalty, but like leftists hate the death penalty.
yeah. Well, they claim they do. They just hate the
To
death
put
penalty
faith
for
in,
black
so
people.
right.
They love the idea of the death penalty for us.
Hmm. Yeah, I just went on your channel. Yeah, I love that TV. I'm pretty sure everyone loves it. You got to keep that. You get to see everyone through the prism of that TV. I didn't pay much attention to the Bolton fiasco with everything else going on. He comes out with this book, and he had that interview with Colbert today, and all of his haters say he's so vacuous, he's shallow, like there's just no depth to him. Do you buy that at all, or do you
Well,
do you think he really is a smart guy? Like he is playing some form of 3D chess or something like this.
who Colbert?
No, no, fuck him. Trump.
I don't think Trump wants to win. I think Trump is looking for an out. I think if it were up to him, that he wants to lose the election in a way where he can't be like owned for it. Because losing to Joe Biden would be worse than losing to what's it called? Losing to Joe Biden would be worse than losing to Hillary Clinton because the guy's fucking senile. He doesn't know what's going on. Like losing to Joe Biden would be the ultimate insult unless he could like claim he was cheated or something like that. But I don't think he wants to win. I think he's tired of this. I mean, he doesn't get shit. He's not able to get shit done. Like he's not able to do anything that he wants, and everybody calls him a Nazi just for saying the fucking sky is blue. You know,
But he seems to love the fight. You know what I mean? Like
he does
Trump.
love the fight, but occasionally when you're constantly fighting, it's nice to get a win in every now and then, and he's not getting any.
Well, unless he wins the election again, or like I've been picturing him having, trying to make something good. There's not much he can do in all these 30 different cities that are having riots or whatever. But he can crack
Well,
down
that's why I
in
said
DC.
I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think he's doing it by like through basically incompetence. But I love what he's doing right now. I don't want him running in and saving people that don't want to be saved. I don't want him going in and asserting dominance in a place where they don't want him to. Let them burn their cities to the ground. Fuck them. They voted for this. They want this. So, okay, let them have it. Why are we going to send in American troops and American National Guardsmen to come in and fuck everything up in an area that hates him, that hates us, that hates the people coming in? Like, they would rather have the Chaz thing than have the National Guard come in and kick Chaz out. So fuck them. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, just let them fuck it up and.
They're trying to goad us into a fight. The minute that
Mhm.
we come in there, like you hear all the time, oh, the Hells Angels are riding to Seattle tomorrow because they're going to take out the fucking Chaz or they're going to reclaim it or whatever. Like, why? Like they want this. Let them have it. Like, what are we going to gain from taking it back and watching it happen again the next day? And it doesn't matter because the minute we do, the FBI is going to come marching in and go, oh shit, like it's the white supremacists, the Nazis are here, like
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
why give them that win? Why?
Yeah, getting back to some of the. You've been on Kato's stream a lot. I don't know what it is about Kato, but the guy is just so goddamn hilarious.
He is pretty funny.
I've never had this experience when I think it's funny to watch somebody else laugh, but somehow like he's always laughing in every interview. Like I watched TFM's interview with him, which was just so goddamn hilarious. I actually sent it. I actually sent it to my mom. I was like, it's a little bit edgy, but it's funny, especially. He just has the funniest sayings like, you're all depressed because no women want to touch your pee-pee. It's like, like who says that? It's just, why it's so funny. But
Dude, we had Andy Nowicki on once. You know who that is?
yeah, yeah.
So we had Andy Nowicki on, and we it was like the whole stream was like us just kind of goofing around. Like Andy was goofing around too, but at one point, like they started talking about dolls and shit. And Andy's like, "Yeah, like I've never even thought about it. I probably wouldn't ever get a doll or anything like that." And TFM goes, "I am so sure that you would love my product that I can tell you, I not only stand behind it, but I bend it over and fuck it too." And like Andy just started laughing, and he didn't stop for like 20 minutes. It was really funny.
He's good at selling it, because it's like, yeah, it's a little bit bizarre, but he's intriguing the way he talks about it, so he makes you think about it. So maybe that's his approach.
Listen, it isn't for me. I've openly said that. Like, I'm not into the whole doll thing, but I don't fault people who want to. Like, if that's how you find your happiness, like, far be it from me to stop you.
Yeah,
Like, there's a lot of people out there whose happiness comes from like, killing their babies or, cutting their dicks off and calling themselves females and stuff like that. Like, if your happiness comes from a plastic doll, like, there are much worse things out there at this point.
and then there was the Dutton interview, which you've talked about a few times with that super chat that threw him. That was hilarious.
Well, it was his face. When you saw his fucking face, it was unbelievable. Like because he was like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's sorry, waifu privilege," and like he's like, "Okay, I gotta go," and he just like left. You know. So hold on, real quick. Alexander History Acts for $10. Thank you for the donation. If you can donate to the stream, it's important to support the content you care about, especially in these dark times. I very much appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Good friend of the show, good friend of the Discord. He's one of my mods there. Good friend in general. Just a very good person to have. And thank you very much for the donation. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, true that. Your interview with Kato recently, and I thought you showed. Remember, you showed him that Keith Woods meme about like Keith Woods being a kid or something like that. Is that right?
I didn't show him, like, I don't have any memes like that, but I just told him about it. Like, we were
Oh,
just talking about it for a while.
because I went back through the show and Kato's always laughing, but he laughed harder than like he ever laughed. I swear to God, you almost killed the man. And it was just so hilarious watching it. Like I said, I've never laughed so hard looking at someone else laugh. And then like he's always trying to hold his laughter in. It's just I don't know what it is about that guy, but he's just goddamn hilarious and likable.
I don't remember who he was interviewing, but him and Paul were interviewing somebody, and they were talking about Richard Spencer. And I super chatted that Richard Spencer was gayer than Elton John's asshole. And literally, you just saw Kato's face when he went to read it, and then he couldn't read it for like 10 minutes because every time he tried, he started cracking up. So he's like, "Go ahead, guys," and he just like muted himself to laugh. You know?
Yeah, well, I gotta see that clip. He's just like I don't know what it is. Like he's goofy and it makes it funny. It's almost like you're spoofing on a substitute teacher, like a I don't know. It's hard to describe, but his show's good. He gets really good guests because of Paul. You're saying, and it's small considering the people he has on. So I'm sure it's growing. But he does take the streams down and added some like so many people like Luke Ford and such these days.
I do it also. If the minute my streams are done, I take them down, and then I re-upload them to BitChute because it's not worth the fucking. It's not worth the strikes. You know.
Right. Yeah, I gotcha. Um, I guess thinking back, like talking to people who hate you, whether it be, because you're Jewish or some people hate people. There's a lot of people who are anti-white now. I mean, what did you find worked best? Just talking it out, or were you more
With people who hate me,
yeah, or whatever, whether it be for the JQ or be or
I don't care if people hate me. That's their prerogative. I do my thing. If you're gonna hate on me for it, then I don't really give a fuck. That's just your thing. So I don't do things to make people who dislike me like me more. If
yeah,
if they want to dislike me for being Jewish or white or anything like that, like listen, I'll talk to anybody. I don't give a shit. But I'm not gonna play the game of like, no, you should really like me because like, no, kiss my fucking ass. I don't care if you like me or not.
yeah, you were always very effective and like Mike Enoch fans are so fucking dishonest, but even many of them are like, yeah, Enoch sucked that night and Halsey beat him, but just that one time, just because he didn't play fair. But
First of
Yeah,
all, it was blood sports. There's no such thing as a fair fight in blood sport.
that's true.
Secondly, I have offered to debate him 100 times since then, and the fucking guy has refused. He blocks me. He like so. If it was just a bad night, you'd think he'd be itching to get back and fight again, but he's not because he's a fucking pussy.
No, I mean
You know.
he's so vile. So whatever you say to him, I mean, I guess you agree to the rules and for the blood sports, gentlemanly or whatever. But there's nothing that you could possibly fucking say to the guy that's out of line when you look at the shit he says. You know what I mean?
Real quick, Ben has for $5. I like the idea of the imagery of the Alamo to rally people. It's subtle, but when you post something like that, people who know and are inspired.
And by the way, I just want to warn everyone: the Alamo is a symbol of white supremacy. I didn't even know that until recently, but
Really, I love the Alamo now.
no, because I mean, look, I don't like them tearing down anything, any of these fucking statues, even whatever the worst slave owner. That upsets me. But Antifa wanted to go fuck up the Alamo, and if you wanted to have a civil war, especially down in Texas, like just burn the Alamo or do something to the Alamo. So then they had right wing death squads or whatever out there guarding it, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, yes, it is. It can be interpreted as a symbol of whatever white supremacy because white men fought to the death there. But then again, they were all slaughtered. So couldn't it be seen as like oppressing white people? I don't know. It's just fucking stupid.
It is all stupid.
But yeah, I think I said at the beginning, like visiting the Alamo was awesome. I just thought it was going to be another fort. Like how many forts you visit. But just reading about it and the guys fought to the death there. I mean, what do you think they thought, right? They had no idea how it was ultimately going to work out. We look back and see, it was a Texan victory, of course. Like America won or the Anglos beat the piss out of the Mexicans, but that's not what they saw. They fought and they knew they were going to get slaughtered. You know what I mean? So it is a real inspiring story, and it's inspiring for me because I'm from out of the area, and I moved from a blue state to a red state, and I know like everything is cucked now and getting worse. But it was like going back in time 20, 30 years. Because the Northeast, California, those states are in such bad shape now. I'm sure you can relate being from New Jersey.
I mean, it's not that bad here. I mean, the fake virus restrictions are real bitches. But other than that, I mean, no. New Jersey's not that bad. Like, I mean, if you ignore the politics, obviously, if you really feel like pissing yourself off, you'll pay attention to the politics. But the suburbs here are like they're not like the South, and obviously the gun laws are terrible and all of that. But when all said and done, it's not like California or New York or anything like that. Like you can live here and not want to kill yourself.
Yeah, I got you. I bet the state politics are kind of frustrating. I don't really know right now,
They
but
are just because it's such a hard, cool core, like fucking blue state. So the chances of actually getting like a decent Republican, well, I mean, a decent Republican, that was a joke. But
right.
like the chances of getting things like that are just nil. So you ignore it.
I used to like Christie a lot, like back in the day when he first became a governor, and it was like, wow, this is our guy. He doesn't cuck. He's slugging it out with teachers over the teachers unions, but I don't know what exactly happened to him. Yeah, his career went sideways. We had that Bridgegate thing a
Well, the
couple.
Bridgegate thing turned out to be bullshit. But you know what happened to him? People thought that he was being an asshole to the teachers and the cops because he was tough and realized what needed to be done. And then over time, they just realized that the guy's a fucking asshole. Like he's always an asshole to everybody. And so basically, he just screwed over everybody on a regular basis, and it just got tiring. You know,
It just seems like people's political trajectory are so random or like so petty or something like this. I mean, they're not. People wanted to go out and vote for Biden, I guess, because they felt comfortable with him and they thought. I think a lot of it had to do with he was Obama's guy, right? So everyone in the South were like, "Oh, I trust this guy. He's not racist. He served with Obama." I think that was a big thing. But people's political success in many of these cases just seems totally random. I didn't expect Biden to be the nominee.
I'm still not convinced. Like, I think they want Biden to be the nominee because they know he won't make it probably to the through the election, but let alone through 4 years. So it's whatever vice president he picks that they actually want. It'll probably be Black Grimace or Kamala Harris, but we'll just have to see.
Wait, who's Black Grimace? Is that
Stacey Abrams,
oh, Stacey Abrams. I thought you were talking about your guy from New Jersey, the guy out of Newark, the senator.
Cory Booker,
Yeah, yeah.
Spartacus Gaylord.
Yeah,
No,
Spartacus.
no,
Oh
no, no,
god.
no. It's not going to be him. Nobody wants him. Like nobody wants Cory Booker to do anything. Cory Booker is a fucking wall-eyed spurg.
Yeah, I gotcha. I was thinking, it seems like all these pro-white groups, whether it be, the Wignats are like the worst example, but they just always seem to take this toxic turn towards, you know, whatever, worshiping the Third Reich, and I just really wish there was like a more healthy movement. What are your, but it's, even Jared Taylor, right? That's probably a struggle for him because he had like David Duke at one of his rallies, and he caused that whole drama fest. But it's got to be a struggle for him. It's like, who do I exclude or exclude? It's hard to do. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
It's not that. It's that like if you start getting into this habit of distancing yourself from your supporters just because you disagree with them on other things, then eventually you get left with nothing but like a cucked echo chamber. And they'll always just keep getting you to bend the knee by disavowing everybody. I mean, look at Ben Shapiro. The guy can't last 5 minutes without disavowing somebody. Like it's just it gets to the point where who are your allies if you just disavow everybody? Now, obviously, I think David Duke is a complete nut job,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. I mean, Jared Taylor should do Jared Taylor, but I mean, I don't understand how Wignats think that the answer to fighting one of the worst political systems ever invented in communism is going to be countered by trying to revive a similar political system that more people hate now than anything. It's like, oh, I know the answer: fascism. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Go sell that one to the normies. You know,
Well, that's Keith Woods.
who
Fascism.
gives a fuck about Keith Woods? Keith Woods is nothing but Richard Spencer's altar boy. Like Keith Woods just likes being told that he dropped the soap. So who really cares what Keith Woods has to say? Who cares what Richard Spencer has to say?
Yeah, definitely. Luke Ford, just on his show, he streams what they've been saying, but he streams for like 5 hours, you know. But yeah. What do you
Just
like?
letting you know, I have about 5 minutes left. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect because I kind of exhausted my questions quicker than I thought. But I will ask you, what you got going on. What do you plan on doing in the future? And then I see on the streams you've been in a studio, but then sometimes it looks like you're in a garage. Is that the case, or it's just cooler out
Ooh,
there?
or are they one and the same? No, I originally had I used my spare bedroom as my studio, but it just wasn't working out because I was keeping up half the house because I stream a lot late at night, and I couldn't soundproof it. So I started to build the studio in my garage, but then the fake virus came out, and I had the construction workers couldn't come back, so I had to what's it called? So yes, it is a garage, but that's just until I still have like two more walls to build and to soundproof it, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing you out there, but yeah.
But that's why I use the avatar for now because I don't use the camera because like I can use my green screen so that you don't see the garage, but then at the same time it's a bitch to light and it makes it really fucking hot in here. So it'll be done in the next few weeks.
Okay, awesome. And then yeah, what do you got going on going forward?
Tonight I got I'm having Brian Hendricks on in an hour and 12 minutes. We're going to be talking about the beautiful new Amazon Prime Video show Kraka, where they're basically like trying to kill white people.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about South Africa. And then tomorrow is Thursday, so I have my Thursday night stream. I stream every night at 9 o'clock, and then Saturday night TFM. Sunday night I take the night off, and then Monday right back to the grind.
Yeah, awesome.
So, guys, please make sure you come back tonight at 11 o'clock. I will be here with Brian Hendricks, and we will be talking about South Africa and the show Kraka. And listen, the link is in the description. Alt-Right Talk has got a new channel. He's had some pretty interesting guests on. He talks about some pretty interesting topics. Go over there and subscribe. Throw a donation here and there, and it's good to support people who support us.
Yeah, absolutely. Small time streamer here, but I just talk about some topics in the alt right and etc. that interest me. So those are topics that might interest some other people as we try to navigate the craziness of 2020.
As we try to get out of 2020 alive.
Right.
Okay, man. Thank you very much, guys. I will see you later at 11 o'clock, and have a great night.
Hey, thanks a lot, Halsey. Take care.
Anytime.
Yeah. All right.